Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another entry into our preseason podcast for Big Brother Hometowns 15. That is previewing the players from the cast and what exactly happened their first time around and what maybe you could expect to see on their second chance. Today, I am very excited to be talking about a BBH 11 alum, Davey. And I am so excited to be once again joined by the fabulous Crystal KPoww to talk about Davey. Hi, KPoww.
Hello, everyone. I'm so excited to be back or be here
Or
the first time.
yeah, who knows?
To talk about another BBH 11er.
I know, another BBH 11er and such a special person at that. Davey is one of my absolute favorite players that I've met through the org community, and I've always enjoyed following along on the journey that he has partaken and in other games that he's played. And I played a game with him once on a team. Like, Davey is just a very special person.
Yes, absolutely. I think he by far is one of the kindest souls just in all the games, any interaction I've had with him. He's definitely one of the people that I look back really fondly on from my time in BBH 11. So I'm really glad to be here to talk a little bit about his game.
Yes, so I'm glad that you're here as well. And let's maybe for people who don't remember or who are newer to our community, let's kind of do a brief overview of Davey's game, and I'll give my broad perspective, and you feel free to fill in any blanks or things that I miss. But
Yeah,
um
absolutely.
Davey comes into BBH 11 as this beautiful mixture of someone who's in the org community, but also someone who's a sequester person. And at that point in the history of Big Brother Hometown, sequester is hitting the BBH scene. We have a huge influx of players coming from that community, and as they're trying to test the waters in the long form game, he is there immediately with people that played in one of his sequester minis in
Mhm.
Chandler and Crispy, and
Mhm.
they are
And me as well. I had played with him before too.
yeah, okay. So and so you had played with him, and there were other people that he knew through
Yeah.
sequester that were there, and so by all accounts, we would assume that Davey should be in a really good spot because he has a lot of connections. Unfortunately for Davey's game, he gets pegged as being a part of this group that of people who played a mini together in Crispy, Chandler, and Davey, and they just and Andrew Marcus. Sorry, I forgot about Andrew Marcus.
Yeah.
And they're like we can't let this group. They're gonna be so close together. We can't let them get power. We can't let them. And he kind of just suffers this fate of constantly being duped because of his relationship to the 6-6 mini. And ultimately, he just finds himself on the terrible receiving end for the entire game
Yes.
without being able to get any footing, and then eventually finds himself up against a 6-person alliance at a double eviction at final 8. And, bye bye
Mhm.
Davey and bye bye Blake, so that the people that were in that group of 6 could make it to the end.
Yeah. I think I was on the very starting BBH 11 bus with Davey, and I had played in a teacher's sequester mini with him before. So right off the bat, we had a solid foundation connection. Um, you know, we were in a group chat and having conversations, and so I felt really solid with him um, going in. I think what really hindered our relationship at the beginning was um, we had this foundation that we didn't really work on. So I think the game just kind of got away from the two of us being able to work super closely together. Um, because we weren't putting the like effort into each other's game, and kind of falling in with other people. Although we weren't in an alliance from that first day.
The Green Bus Alliance,
the Green Bus, the 4-wheel drive alliance, which was, he ended up being kind of an essential piece in that alliance and getting to final 8. Him and Mark were in that alliance, and they're kind of the people that ended up making it the furthest of other people in the game too.
Yeah, and Daveyy does outlast every ally that he has in the game, and I believe that to be a strength of his social game. He was very UTR in BBH 11, but the strength of his social connections to some of the other players helped him outlast Chandler, outlast you, outlast Crispy. And Andrew Marcus, and I think like in a small vacuum, like where Blake wins the double eviction at 8, like I don't think Daveyy goes home in 8th place. Then he's probably primed in a good position to do well in the game, but unfortunately that was just not the way it worked. Davey's story in 11 is really marked by, one, getting outplayed by Smiley and RBG, and two, for him, he has a blunder of an HOH. He has an early pre-jury HOH where ultimately, he really wants Macy evicted, not knowing the dynamics of the house. He puts up Adam as a pawn who he believes will stay in the game, and then Adam is ultimately evicted by a vote of 10-2, which was something that Daveyy was really hurt by and really upset by. Do you think he brings that with him into this game, and how do you think that may affect him?
I do think that he potentially will have trouble trusting people from 11, just knowing the dynamics of, with the exception of, one person on the cast from our season. I think he was burned by all the other people, that are playing from our season. I worry for him that he's going to fall into the same trap of being lumped together with a group of people, and like having to claw his way out of like being seen as like a season 11 person, which maybe not, because all of the seasons have people, and I think cross connections are going to be a big thing, but I do worry that if someone from 14 gets power or something, they're going to be like, let's target this other season where there's a bunch of people playing, but I do think he's going to be more cognizant of his choices and thinking more. I don't think that he'll put a pawn on the block. I think one thing that he regrets. We'll take that from there.
Yeah, no, he regretted it. I mean, even I just rewatched his exit interview to kind of try and prep for this, and in his exit interview, which was, probably 2.5 weeks after Adam was, evicted, he still had so much regret over that move, and so much irritation at all the people who lied to him and said that they would do this thing. I wonder if he is going to be on the defensive. I know that when it comes to big groups. That was such a big story of season 11 was, you
Yeah.
know, the alliances that outplayed everybody. I know that he's just coming off of playing the Hive, where again there was an alliance that kind of ran a lot of the game,
Mm-hmm.
and he was not involved with it. He makes it, I think, like ultimately like fifth or sixth place, but didn't
Mm-hmm.
really have, you know, a huge, you know, overall narrative that kind of contributes to the story. I wonder if he's going to either be super hesitant to make a big alliance, or if he's going to just like embrace it and be like, all right, big alliances are the way to make this work, and see if he like throws that, you know, as a card down on the table.
Yeah, I'm also very interested in that. It's something that I've said in like even our production chat that I'm interested just how, you know, the dynamics season by season are happening, because I know in 11 that, you know, huge alliances, like I was in what, like 3 different 6-person alliances at some point in the
Right.
first, you know, week of the game. And then being on production, you know, seeing a season like, you know, 14 that was basically like the largest alliance was like 4 people.
Mm-hmm.
And there was one of them or like
Yeah.
2 of them. So like how that is gonna play into like how the season, you know, develops. So if,
Mm-hmm.
you know, someone like Davey is going to be like, let's get a 6 or 7-person alliance started, or if they're going to lean into, you know, groups of trios and duos and trios who are just working together to like navigate
Mm-hmm.
votes. I think I I ultimately think he might be a product of the seasons that he's played. So he might try to get be on the defensive or the offensive, I guess, and get a large alliance started, which could either be, you know, his way to the final 2 or something that, you know, gets him out.
Yeah. I have to think that Davey does not come in with the largest target out of people. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, given again, it all depends on how much this cast knows the history of this game.
Yeah.
If they know, if they've done their homework, you know, Davey's low on the list in terms of like people who come in with perceived threats or perceived
Mm-hmm.
targets. But also, Davey has been around the org community for a while, and people might know him from that, and they might perceive him as a threat because of that. I don't think that's going to happen. And I think if he can get something solidified early on, I think Davey could be in a really good spot, because I don't see anyone who's going to come for Davey on this list.
Yeah.
Um, you know, and I wouldn't be surprised if Davey is the last BBH 11 person standing.
Mm-hmm.
I feel bold enough to make that claim. Obviously, people listening may not know the entire cast of BBH, you know, that 11 that's returning,
Yeah.
but out of the group of them, I think Davey probably has the best shot to make a deep run here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I definitely see him as one of the people that is going far. And I know from my own experience, um, like being, or I would say that leaving the game, like, you know, and I've said this before, and I think Davey knows this too, like the night that I was getting evicted, Davey was really one of the only people who like told me straight up what was happening,
Mm-hmm.
knew how upset I was, and like literally texted me for 3 hours, like while I knew that I was going home. And like if he was in the final 2, like there's a chance that he like could have gotten my vote
Just
because of
based on that, yeah.
like because of that, like, and I think people are going to potentially underestimate that for him,
Mm-hmm.
just about how well he like can connect to people and like make people feel like seen and heard, which is you know, something not to take for granted in a game like this.
Mm-hmm.
That if he gets deep and has the ability to go into a final,
Yeah.
like I do think that his just his social game and his connection with people like could get him
Mm-hmm.
like a win
Yeah.
just for
I
that alone.
You know what, too, though, and I agree with you 100%. I think Davey has a cutthroat side to him, and I just don't like. I in other games I've seen of him, I don't think he's had the ability to flex that.
Hmm.
Um, and I think that that is something that people would underestimate about his game. And then I think if he makes the right cuts at the right time, Davey could definitely be in a good spot towards the end game. And I think people would be surprised by that because I don't think like I said, I don't think he's done it a ton.
Hmm.
And then they'd be like, wow, you changed your game. And he could say at and then he could sit at the end and be like, I had to change my game if I wanted to be successful
Hmm.
and my second chance. And he has the story right there that it's just
Yeah,
written for everybody. So
absolutely. Yeah, I think that's his. I think that's his second chance story. Like, not necessarily, getting. Although I think he could, but I don't think his second chance story is about getting better than eighth place. I think it's about like really showing what he's capable of and what he's made of. And I think 11 was marked by, if people made different cuts at different time, like the game would have been really different.
yeah.
I think ours is one of those seasons that boot order really mattered. Um,
Hmm.
and I think if he can do that in 14 or in 15, like know who to cut and when to cut them, um, I think he finds himself in a really good place. But that's his story, not necessarily just like beating his placement.
Yeah. I'm rooting for Davey. It's hard for me to be like, I'm rooting for this person. I'm rooting for all of them.
Yes.
I literally love this
For
entire cast.
everybody.
And every time I do one of these and I'm like I get to the end, I'm like, oh my God, I would love to see that story for them. I would love to, like, I'm rooting for them. But sincerely, I am rooting for Davey and I want him to have a great experience. I want them all to have a great
Yeah.
experience. And um
Hmm.
ultimately, even if every single person can find some level of redemption or some sort of validation in their second
Hmm.
shot, that's ultimately what we want. We know that that won't be the case, but we can hope.
Yes. Yes. I do hope. I am really excited to see him play again and to root for him, um, and to see what he could do, because um, I I see the game that he can play, and I really
Mhm.
want him to be able to play that and to be able to show his true potential
Yeah.
of the variety of and the range of what he can do in the game.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. KPoww, thank you so much for spending some time with me tonight to talk about Davey's game.
Yes.
It was a pleasure as always.
All
And
right.
yes, we're gonna head out until that was wow, I really butchered the outro of this one. Join the Discord, buy some merch, subscribe on YouTube, get your fantasy picks in. All that's happening this week at some point. So, if you're seeing this, get it done.
Yeah.
Um, uh,
You can watch another video for more details.
yeah, watch another video. I did a better job in some of the other ones. But until you see us again for a proper BBH 15 stream, good night, everybody, and we're looking forward to a fantastic season. Bye.